Well, I did it. I started a YouTube channel. Why? I don't know. I really enjoy doing car stuff. I enjoy editing videos. I enjoy taking videos. I enjoy doing pictures, editing pictures, all that stuff. I figured might as well do something with YouTube, since apparently that's what everybody else does and they're fucking rich. So, my name is Alex, also known as Ledger2JZ, for those of you that don't know me. I live in Las Vegas. Sucks here. I'm sick right now, so that also sucks. But what doesn't suck is my car. My 1994 Mark IV Toyota Supra. Some dickhead decided to park right next to me. So now here we are on the top floor. Let me show you around the car. So I guess we could start with the engine itself. This is a 2JZ GE non-VVTi. It is completely unopened, bone stock from the factory from Toyota. It is the NA motor, so it does have the 10:1 compression ratio and the single layer metal head gasket compared to the 2JZ GTE, which is I think a 9.2:1 compression with a multi-layer steel head gasket. Pretty much the exact same block, same rods, essentially. Same crankshaft. And the only difference is I think the pistons are shaped a little bit differently for the compression ratio and everything. Other than that, it's essentially just the same engine. The head is different exhaust port valves. They're circular instead of like the kind of tubular oval shape that the GTEs come with. So the exhaust manifold I'm running is a 2JZ GE Rev 9 turbo manifold. It's a cheap eBay one. Works really well. It has a lot of clearance. Since the car's right-hand drive, there's usually a problem with the steering shafts. They get in the way of like the wastegate dumps and everything. This turbo manifold is actually perfect for the right-hand drive Supras. Has no issues clearing, no nothing. The turbo I have on it is a Borg-Warner S362 SXE. It is a journal bearing. I don't want ball bearing just because I don't like all the extra lines in the engine bay, and I'm not going for crazy numbers that I need, like instant spool, all that stuff. So it's S362 SXE. The exhaust housing is a 0.91 AR twin scroll, same as the Rev 9 manifold, they're both twin scroll. I have a 3-inch downpipe made by my buddy Jeff that goes from the turbo all the way back to the HKS high power muffler that's on the back of the car. He did all the fab work on the car, all the intercooler piping that you see. I usually have an intake tube that runs right here, but I don't have it on right now. I need to get a new filter. The other one was trash. I do have the PHR Powerhouse Racing ABS Delete Kit. Great kit for the money. It made the engine bay a lot cleaner, and it made a lot more room on the intake side for the catch can and everything. So I guess we'll move on to the intake side. I have a deep motor 2JZ GE intake manifold. It actually comes in anodized silver, which looks absolutely terrible. So I sent it out to the machine shop, they polished it. Looks really good. I have the Bosch 82mm drive-by-wire throttle body. I want to drive-by-wire because these manifolds, the OEM GE IACV, the idle air control valve, it doesn't work very well because it's not supposed to see boost. So I would have had to cut the flange off, re-weld the flange, redo all the wiring and all that. And I'm like, just forget about that. I'll just go drive-by-wire and have a perfect idle all the time. Launch control, rolling anti-lag, all that stuff. 3.5-inch piping coming out of that throttle body reduces down to 3-inch inside the fender well. Tile Q 50mm blowout valve, Koyo radiator, best radiator ever. I have the Powerhouse Racing power steering reservoir relocation kit. You can't really use the OEM GE because the manifold's in the way, and you can't use the OEM GTE one because the fuse box is in the way. So you get this little slim kit, it's really nice. I have the Injector Dynamics ID 1050X injectors. Great injectors, they're really quiet. You can make a lot of power with them. I am on flex fuel, so they work for E85 very well. With that being said, it is a deep motor fuel rail, same as the manifold, it came with the kit. I have a radium fuel line kit. The feed comes all the way from the tank, return goes all the way back to the tank, full radium, PTFE, all that. At the end of the deep motor fuel rail, I have the radium fuel pressure regulator. That's hooked up to my flex fuel sensor, as well as a wholesale horsepower fuel pressure sensor just so I can see how much fuel pressure I'm running on the gauge and everything. I am a dealer for Tweaked Performance harnesses if you would like to get a harness for yourself at Kill Switch Motorsports. I have the Tweaked Performance 2JZ Supra harness. I have everything wired in for it. It's extremely nice kit, very nicely made. Everything plugged in. There was no wrong pins and anything. They're really good guys over there. 100%, 10 out of 10 would recommend getting something from them. Even if it's not through us at Kill Switch, you should absolutely 100% give them a chance if you have a Toyota or Lexus or anything with a JZ in it. For the catch can, it's just a cheap Amazon catch can. For the heater hoses, these are the Powerhouse Racing right-hand drive specific heater hoses. That's a huge problem because when you pull everything out, you sometimes cut those hoses or you rip them pulling them out, or they're just really corroded and hard. You don't want to run them. Powerhouse makes a great kit for the heater hoses. I'll give them all the credit in the world. Fantastic job. Toyota 1ZZ, 1NZ ignition coil packs. They're out of like the Yaris, the Prius, a couple other cars I can't remember off the top of my head. Those are great coils. OEM Toyota, you can't beat it. Reliable, they'll last forever, they work really well. For the cam gears, actually, these are Powerhouse Racing cam gears. Exhaust cam gear is actually different. It is made and sold by a gentleman named Daniel Harnett at First State Motorsports. He makes a distributor delete kit. This motor comes with a distributor, if you know the GE non-VVTi. That deletes all of that. There's some magnets on the back of the cam gear, and then there's a Hall effect sensor on the back of the cam gear backing plate that senses the rotation of the motor. It tells you where the crank and the cam position is and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the engine bay. So moving on to the wheel and tire setup. These are OG Advan GTs in an 18x10 plus 35 squared. I do have these in the OG version. They do make the GT Premium and the GT Beyond. I prefer these. They're a little bit less concave and they're a little bit cheaper. For the tires, they are Falcon Zenith RT660s, 285, 30, 18, also squared. For the braking system, these are Cadillac Gen 2 CTSV calipers. I actually sell the kit for these to adapt them on your Mark IV Supra, your Lexus SC300, SC400, and Toyota Soarer. They utilize a Lexus ISF front rotor, the OEM 360 mil size, and then whatever brake pads you want to run for the Gen 2 CTSV calipers themselves. And for the rears, it's going to be the same thing, 18x10 plus 35 Advan GT with the Falcon RT660s, the 285/30s. Same thing with the braking system back here. It is the Gen 2 CTSV calipers. These are the 340 mil rotors compared to the 360s up front. So Lexus ISF front and rear rotors and Gen 2 CTSV front and rear calipers. For the interior of the car, I didn't want to go too crazy. A lot of people add like gauges and gauge pods and lights and screens and all this stuff. I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to keep it like OEM plus. Granted, I did add a few things like a steering wheel, shift knob, seats, all that little stuff that makes it your own. This fucking siren, fuck off! Damn. So I guess that about does it for this video. I didn't really have a plan. I kind of just winged it. I wanted to introduce myself, introduce my car, show you around a little bit. There's definitely gonna be some more content coming. I have plans to do stuff with it, do stuff to it, and I'm gonna bring you guys along for the ride. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one.